Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Launch Codes Football. We are on episode 81, and my name is Chris W.
I'm Chris P.
And I'm Chelsea, once again, like normal, bringing up the rear since I've been replaced in second, but that's fine.
Replaced? No, don't think of it as replaced. Just think of it as
Never
moved.
forgotten.
What am I, dead?
Anyways, I know it's been a while since we've done an episode, so how are you guys doing?
Good. We haven't done an episode since week 1 of the season, so we are back.
You know, I would say for me, it was because week 1 was so traumatizing, I couldn't come back to football. We're better now. We've come out stronger. We're okay now.
Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with other Chris, getting married or anything.
Nah, nothing like that. It's not like, he took full advantage and didn't remind me that I needed to update my fantasy team. So that's when I lost to him. But it's okay.
To me,
Wah wah. Should have
look,
checked it
man,
yourself. It's
look,
your
man,
responsibility.
He literally said after the wedding, he was like, "Oh yeah, so I might have taken advantage of you because you didn't set your lineup and you lost by like .5."
Can't blame him. I probably would have done the same thing, honestly.
it's bad because I only won by like that much, but he had
You know
like
how
all
many
these
wins?
injured players.
You know
Hey,
how many
Wiles,
wins he
it,
has?
it it didn't even matter. He didn't make the playoffs anyway, so it's fine.
Yes, I did.
No, Wiles.
Oh yeah. Well, he was 2 and was 11.
No,
One
no,
of those
no.
wins is against me.
No. We're fact checking that. Hold on. Anyways, today, if you guys can't tell, today we are doing a fantasy football episode. And as many people are in this world, we are also on the fantasy brain rot because sometimes when your team just isn't doing well and you just need some extra motivation to want to watch football. And by the way, I am 4-10. Thank you very much. I have
Oh,
doubled that.
Oh, sorry.
So
that makes it obviously better.
it does. So today, guys, our topic is
Actually, Wiles, no, you're not 4-10.
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
I'm
You're
looking at it.
5-9,
Why does it say I'm 4-10 on my screen?
brother. You're looking at the wrong league.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Launch Codes League. You're 5-9, so even
Okay.
better than you gave yourself credit for.
All right, fine. All right. Well, today,
You
guys.
still missed the playoffs, but
Today,
that's
guys,
here.
is what we're
Neither
talking
here nor
about.
there.
We're
In
talking-
both leagues,
Oh.
by the way.
That's neither here nor there, though.
Look, man. Look, we are struggling. But anyways, today we are talking about our fantasy misses in our drafts this year. I would say that this has been a very interesting fantasy year, one could say. I'm kind of going over my general fantasy misses. I'm in 3 leagues, and to be honest, the Launch Codes League was the least bad of them, to be real. So,
Nice.
yeah, let's get started with this. So I'll go first. My one of the biggest busts that I had all year. Well, let's talk about the Launch Codes League first. So the Launch Codes League, Kirk Cousins was my bust. He looked like a decent QB for a couple weeks there, here and there, and I was like, well, they gave him like 40,000 weapons on offense, and he's like not bad. So there's no way he's going to be that bad. I'm like, I won't draft too highly on a QB. No, he's been so bad. I think last week he had exactly 9.76 points, and then the week before that he had 2.1. I have never seen 2.1 from a starting QB in my life. Like, what?
That was his
that?
5 interception week, right?
It was only 4.
Oh, sorry.
But
Yeah, I mean, in your defense, the Falcons started out really strong.
ish. He like
The team, I mean, they had a good record for the first couple of weeks.
they did, and they're still, I think, leading in the NFC South, but it's so dumb.
That's crazy.
I think they're either leading or they're neck and neck with Tampa. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. It's like, what in the world? But
It doesn't even matter. Whoa.
But like I that was a whiff on Kirk Cousins. speaking of Falcons, in another league, my first pick at number 4 was Bijan Robinson.
Oof, dude, should have known better. Come on, man.
I said, look, he's under a new regime now. He's got a better,
To be fair, I believed that.
he's got everything better, and he has to be better now. Which, funnily enough, I did trade him with Mr. Chris Presson here, and that was Chris. How do you feel about that trade looking back?
Oh, it was a great trade. I mean, I was in desperate need of some running backs. I'll be honest. I had a rough start. I think I was in a losing record in the middle of it. I was like, I have to change something. In that league, I had Patrick Mahomes, and he wasn't doing anything. No one was popping off, and it was like I averaged around like maybe 60 points per game, if not less. So it was pretty bad. So that's why I was like, let's change things up.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense. And like the trade was Bijan for Leggett and Tank Dell, and I mean, I got clowned on for it a little bit by Chelsea here, who said that was not a fair trade. And I would argue, looking back, it kind of worked out. It didn't really matter. Neither one has really
Okay.
done anything.
In my defense, the only reason I clown that is because Bijan should, in a competent offense with a competent head coach, be putting up at least 15 points a game. Okay? If he was putting up 15 points a game, it would have been a robbery.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he's not, because I guess every head coach they bring into Atlanta is an idiot, then it worked out for Presson. But it really should not have, statistically, on paper. But stupidly, it ended up working out just because of the Falcons' incompetence.
I think I just knew something, obviously.
Technically, he's averaging like 15 points per game, if not higher.
Is he? Even though they're,
Last game he was 18. Other game was 19. Against Denver, he had 6.3, but the game before that was 26.4, and then 14 points after that. So his
Yeah,
lowest
but there's like 10 other weeks besides that.
his lowest game was like 6.3, and that was against Denver. That was recently.
Yeah, I mean, brother should be scoring at least 2 touchdowns a game with 100 yards. Really, that's 20 points a game.
Nah, they want to let Kirk Cousins throw for 4 interceptions.
Evidently.
No, it's bad. So, I mean, I will say Bijan's not been like awful, but I think it kind of worked itself out. I just needed something as well. Nothing was going my way. But so I made the trade, and it's worked out okay. I think it's worked out for both of us. It was fairly even. But all right, now here's a trade that everyone said I got fleeced on, but you know what? I think I was just right. So I traded Travis Kelce away for Bucky Irving. Now, that was clowned on very hard to start.
Was it the 4th week?
Yeah.
I think it was the 4th.
It was pretty early on in the season.
Week
Yeah.
4. And
Yeah.
I just remember I was at Chris's wedding. I was talking to the guy, and I was just like, dude, I'm sick of Travis, man. Like he's doing nothing. I'm ready to cut this guy. What can I get for him? And then he was like, I'll give you Bucky Irving. And I'm like, sure, I'll take him. He's putting up more points than Travis. And everyone said, Travis is going to come back. Travis is going to do well. No. He has done like nothing this year, and Bucky Irving has had a very good year. A little bit inconsistent because he has not always been the starting running back, but overall.
Okay, again, in our defense, who thought that Rachaad White was going to lose the starting job to, not a highly touted rookie? It's not like he was taken in the first round. I don't think anyone in the league saw that coming.
Look, listen here. I did. So that's why I made the move. I'm like, this guy, Travis, he sucks, man. He's not doing anything. So get him off the team. Let's get a new guy.
Hey, it worked out in your favor. You got that one right for sure.
Chris, are you laughing right now?
I'm sorry, but I just remember the guy telling me after he traded him, he was just like, I fleeced him. Like it was such like it was such a bad, like a good trade for him. And I was just thinking to him, I was like, man, this is crazy. But the funny part is, Kelsey has not popped off at all this year.
No.
And I'll be honest, Mahomes has looked terrible. I mean, yes, they're winning by some sort of luck or some sort of weird stuff that's happening with field goals hitting on the side and then somehow going in, or blocked field goals for the other team. So I don't know. Maybe Swift is doing something, but it's crazy. Like the Panthers almost beat them by 3 points, like lost by them by 3 points, and then like we almost had it with the Eagles. So I'm just like, what is happening? We're going in the right direction, but if these are like superstar teams that are supposed to blow out people, like that's I think they should be blowing out these bad teams. Like, not to say that the Panthers are a very bad team. Like we are. Like we're just starting off to be pretty okay right now. But like the Chiefs should have just had it in the bag and didn't let us score at all, right? But somehow we could score. The Eagles also have a commanding offense and defense. So I'm just saying it's just weird. So with Travis Kelce with that trade, I mean and at the end of the game, it looks like you stole from him because Irving he has
Yeah,
done ridiculous
Irving
things.
Irving has emerged for sure. He's going to be a high pick in next year's drafts, no doubt.
Yep. And so everyone who's like, yeah, I bet you guys had that conversation where it's like, I fleeced him bad. But you know what? He did not. I knew Travis
You get the
wasn't gonna
last
do
laugh
anything.
this time, Wiles, but in our defense, most of the trades that you make never work out. So,
Untrue. But anyways, to my last player, and then you guys can go. My last bust that I felt like was significant was CJ Stroud. Now, I have this theory, and it's come true in a lot of ways, that whoever I draft, I curse. Now, let's think about who I've drafted. We talked about all three of these guys so far, all cursed. And then I also, in another league, drafted Mahomes, who has had a very not great season. Like, you're still winning, but it's still like not what he usually puts up. I have Stroud, who all of a sudden is just not good anymore. And it's like, I wonder what happened. So that's my only theory. That's the only thing that's made sense. Everyone I draft dies. Even I got Sam Laporta, who everyone's like, oh, he's gonna pop off. He's gonna pop off in like this other league. And then he's not quite like dead, right? But he doesn't do much at all. Or there are games where he does nothing. There are games where he pops off. So honestly, not gonna lie, Stroud was a disappointing one. I was like, oh, I won't take quarterback too highly. We won't do that. And then I was like, okay, Stroud's available. He had a very good year last year. He'll repeat it again this year. No. He's been bad. He started out okay, and then it's just gotten worse every week. So yeah, I think the Chris Wiles curse has been in full effect this year, especially for CJ Stroud. So sorry to any Texans fans. My bad on that one.
yeah, I don't think anyone saw a sophomore slump for Stroud coming, not after last year. But if you look at, quarterback play historically over the last, couple of decades, I mean, a lot of quarterbacks that have ended up being really good, have had freshman or sophomore slumps, including Peyton Manning. I mean, Peyton Manning's first year, he was horrible. So I guess we really shouldn't be that surprised, but still, the way Stroud was lighting it up last year and how they made his offense better this year, I mean, I thought he had a chance to win the MVP. So the fact that, he's not even remotely in consideration for MVP is kind of surprising.
So, yeah, those are my misses of fantasy this year. So, all right, who we got next? I believe it's Chris, right?
No, it's me.
Sorry, my bad. Chelsea.
Yeah, it's me. Okay, all right. So I had some pretty bad ones. I'm pretty trash in this league, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm 5-9, so me and Wiles are right there, I guess. But I have 3 to 4 that were pretty bad, which is disappointing and explains my record, I suppose. But
What's
so
your
I took
record?
5-9.
Okay.
So I took Jalen Waddle in the 3rd round. And in Jalen Waddle's defense, he has not been as bad as Tyreek, but
Dang.
he has still been pretty bad. I mean, once Tua went down, brother was putting up like 2 points a game. It was bad. And he's had a couple of games where he's gone off, and, Tyreek hasn't done much in those games. And Tyreek went off in other games later in the season, but that was a pretty bad one. I took him in the 6th round. Another bad one, round 5, or I took Waddle in the 3rd. Round 5, I took Zamir White. Yeah, that's probably a top 3 bad Chelsea fantasy pick of all time. Yeah, dude. And I will say, in my defense, when Conlon was making his fantasy draft list, he said, "Babe, I think Zamir White is going to be really good for the Raiders. He's young. They just got him, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Okay, yeah, you're rarely wrong. You know more draft prospects than anyone." Yeah, no.
Lies.
I know.
That's
And the round after that was horrible. I took Kyle Pitts in the 6th round, which honestly is probably my worst pick. He literally averages like 3 points a game. He is horrible.
He had that
And-
one week he popped off.
The 1 week of the season, yeah. And Conlon and I, my husband, we have this tradition where after we watch the games, we go pull up all the subreddits of all of the team's fans that would be the most angry or the most elated. And let me just tell you, Falcons fans want Kyle Pitts shipped down the river. Dude, it is bad. Apparently, he gives up on routes and is really lazy and doesn't even try. And they want him gone now. Which is pretty crazy considering, his draft history and the type of prospect, he was coded to be when he was coming out of college. And then as we get into the later rounds, round 4, I took Stephon Diggs, who ended up tearing his Achilles, I think, ended up on IR. In his defense, he couldn't have helped that. That's not his fault. So I'm not really including him in this.
Yeah.
But the last one I'm going to say, I was high on this guy. He hasn't really done that much yet. He has a drop problem, but I think he's going to work out. Might be better next year. But I took Adonai Mitchell in the 10th round. Yeah, he's the wide receiver 5 on the Colts right now. He has drop issues, and he has 300 yards on the season. And I was anticipating him being a wide receiver 4 on my team. Yeah, no, he wasn't.
Dang.
And then honorable mention, I took Cole Kmet in the 14th round because I thought the Bears were going to have a prolific offense this year. Yeah, what a joke. Evidently, their head coach doesn't know how to call a timeout or accelerate play when time is running out. And he got, appropriately bounced for that, which really is kind of sad as a Colts fan because Matt Eberflus was our DC for a couple of years. And he was a decent DC. I did like him, until the end when he just started calling zone the whole game and giving up deep passes. But up until that point, I actually liked him a decent amount. So you never want to see a guy get fired mid-season, But, man, yeah, I was like, yeah, that's a steal. Cole Kmet in the 14th round. Yeah, they won't see it coming. They said they wanted to use tight ends more this year. They just got a new rookie quarterback. They have a head coach that's competent. Yeah, no. I do think Caleb Williams is still a good quarterback in his defense. And I think that Kmet is a good tight end. I just don't think they schemed him open. He never threw the ball to him, ever.
No.
And I gave up on Kmet, probably not even halfway into the season, dropped him. He's not even on my team anymore. Poor
Man,
Kmet.
That's so
I know. But the worst one was Kyle Pitts. That one was bad. Even more, Zamir White might be worse, actually. It's a tie between Zamir White and Kyle Pitts. My own husband played beyond Zamir White, and Kyle Pitts has just been garbage. So, but even still, as an aside, I would still trade for Kyle Pitts, personally. We need a tight end. Our tight ends are terrible. I would trade, a 4th-round pick for him or something, and, if he works out, he's a first-round tight end with a high upside, and if he doesn't, you only gave up a day 3 pick for it. So, I would do it. But maybe he just needs a change of scenery, like we thought Kirk Cousins did. So maybe not, because we see how that's worked out. And it hasn't gone particularly well for our friend Kirko and his chains. Yes.
sad.
Yes, I have not seen Kirko wear a chain recently, if that's any indication of his performance recently. So,
I feel like Kyle Pitts is like a trap, right? Because you see the potential.
yes.
And you're
Yes.
how to start him. There's no
I
way
think
to-
I literally took him last year, and he was horrible. And this year, I was like, you know what? Kirk Cousins, new head coach. This is the year. Yeah, no, I'm never taking him again.
This is why I told y'all in the beginning of the year. I said I don't trust the Falcons. I don't. I know they have everything loaded up, and I guess they're still like close to winning the division, but that's not saying much with this division. But
Hey, in the Falcons' defense, they did add one piece that's actually played pretty well from this year. Mooney, who they got from the Bears, he's actually been decent for them this year. My dad has him in our other league, and he's like starting him now. Like he's actually put up like decent points for the Falcons. So,
it's true.
I mean, I guess if you'd rather them do one thing right, you'd probably rather it be the quarterback rather than Darnell Mooney, but that's beside the point.
True. And for the Bears stuff, I mean, just basically picking any Bears offensive player is just a rip.
Yeah, I took Keenan Allen in our primary league. Yeah, he had one good week or 2 good weeks. I started him the second week. He put up like 22 points. I was like, he's here, he's arrived. Started him the next week. You know how many points he put up? 2.5. Yeah, no. Somehow, I still made the playoffs in that league though. Keenan Allen's just riding the bench, but that's beside the point.
Keenan Allen. It's crazy. Everyone thought the Bears offense would be so good.
I know.
Caleb Williams, all those receivers, but also
Moore.
I think his off what?
DJ Moore too.
Moore.
Romo Dunze, who's a really good rookie receiver.
And then
I mean, they got the running back from the Eagles. Everyone thought he was going to be solid.
Yeah,
Komet.
we also
You know,
talked about that.
The only thing that was terrible was their O-line, but we disregarded that because we were like, they have so much other talent, it won't even matter. Yeah, no. Yeah, it still matters.
I think
They should fix that.
I think
yeah.
Caleb Williams O-line hates him. Honestly.
I think, don't they have the most sacks given up in the league?
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor dude.
It's okay.
Justice for Caleb Williams and his poor legs because he's probably so sore all the time, every day.
Maybe it's like
Never-endingly.
Like, look at Bryce Young last year. Worst.
Maybe.
For number 1 picks, it's the new rite of passage. You have to have the
Hey.
worst O-line in the league.
That's how Peyton Manning was. Man, Peyton's first couple of years in the league, whew, it was bad, dude. And honestly, for most of his career in Indy, he had a bad O-line. So let that be a lesson. If you're really that good, it shouldn't matter.
All right, you heard it there. Chris, what do you think of that? Shouldn't matter. That's right?
Okay, shouldn't is a little bit much. It shouldn't matter as much. Like if you're that good and you're that talented and you play that well, you should be able to overcome at least some of your team's deficiencies.
Texans. We can just tell CJ Stroud to get good. All right.
Yeah, I mean, in CJ Stroud's defense, if you look at his statistics, he really hasn't had that bad of a year. It's just compared to last year, it's significantly worse. But if you just measure this year on its own, he really hasn't played that poorly.
Yeah, well, he's on par, I guess, with Sam Darnold.
Hey, Sam Darnold is a new man.
Sam Darnold.
I wouldn't say that.
He had
5
a good
touchdowns
game.
this weekend. 5 touchdowns, no picks, brother.
But
I wouldn't. I'm just saying he has his moments. I mean, he
that's
started
true.
like
For sure.
You have to realize. I'm talking about the times he started off and then he just dwindled down.
Except
until
that
now.
hasn't happened this year.
sometimes.
What do you mean?
Like, he hasn't come back down to earth like we're all expecting. Like, he's still putting up numbers. He dropped, 35 points in fantasy last week? Crazy.
Maybe. Let's see here. Let me do some stat checking real fast.
Yeah, I mean, he was phenomenal. He had 5 touchdowns, or 4 or 5 touchdowns, no picks, no fumbles.
Did
Jordan Addison had the game of his career. That contributed to Darnold's excellent day, of course.
Yeah, so he's averaged about 2 touchdowns. He had 5 this past week, but he played against a terrible Jags. He was 0-3.
Yeah,
3
but
interceptions.
even still, I mean, most quarterbacks that go against horrible teams don't throw 5 interceptions or 5 touchdowns.
That's true. That is true.
So, I mean, in his defense, I've been a Sam hater. I thought dude was cooked. Like, I literally just thought he went to Minnesota to back up J.J. McCarthy. And then McCarthy got hurt, and he got a chance, and he just must be in the system that fits him. I mean, we know that their head coach is, really good at bringing the best out of people and is really good at scheming. So, I mean, maybe that contributes. But compared to like the Jets and their horrible O-line compared to the Vikings and their really good O-line, that probably plays a factor as well.
And you have Justin Jefferson, Addison.
And Addison, who is seemingly legit. He's really good.
I have to say, and it's not to downplay his day. He had a very good day this week. But let's also talk about the Falcons defense. Have we all seen the D. Alford clip?
Yes. He was chasing the ghost of Sam Darnold's past.
My man, I saw a comment that was just like, yo, I would have just fell down and held my leg, pretended I was injured at that point. And I'm like, you know,
And the worst
That
part
probably
is,
would have been less incriminating if that were the case.
I understand, like, oh yeah, he's running around trying to find the ball, but he fell down all
He's
by
like
his legs
15
himself.
yards from the ball.
And Jefferson, I guess
He's like,
he just was just like, all right, I'm just gonna catch this and walk it in, because he knew he was gone. Like he knew he wasn't
Absolutely.
around him, and
Yeah,
so that's
for
the
sure.
sad part. This like you have to retire at that point.
to
You just
retire. Oh my
when you get embarrassed that badly. No, I
Like-
saw a statistic. PFF said that it was the single worst performance of a cornerback in NFL history. He had a perfect passer rating against him during the game.
yeah, I can
Perfect.
see it.
Yeah. That, once you hit rock bottom, though, it's all uphill from there. I mean, look at Sam Darnold and what he's doing now. Maybe that'll be the same for this guy. He'll hit rock bottom, realize how desperate he is, and then, become a new man and start playing well.
Go to the Giants.
Ooh, he won't play well at the Giants.
Oh no, they got people flying banners overhead saying, "Please, Mara, fix the situation."
I don't even think Mara is a bad owner, to be honest with you. He's just, they've just been unlucky. Compared to the owner of the Jets, John Mara is like a saint.
Fair enough. I mean, that's actually not wrong. One has two champions.
Woody Johnson is crazy.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So now, last but certainly not least, Chris. Who
Yeah, Chris.
were your misses?
Yes.
So I actually had a pretty good year. I'm actually second in our
You did.
little league.
You had
And
a good year.
actually, we had this. This is the first time, I was like, I'll actually draft, responsibly. All the other past
Whoa.
two, I was like, the other league that we're in, I drafted. The first pick was Patrick Mahomes. Second pick was Sam Laporta on the other one. Those were two terrible picks. So, but this one we actually focused. We brought it all together, and we were like, we're actually going to try our best. And so, I mean, my draft was pretty good. So with this, I guess we're doing the worst ones, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, my worst ones. Let's see here. Yeah,
You didn't have many.
I didn't have many, but Sam Laporta, he was a disappointment this year. I thought, man, he's going to do great things, give me some great opportunities, and he just fell on his. Goff, I guess, likes to target him just for yardage, not for touchdowns, not for anything else but touchdowns. He just, he's like, oh yeah, you can have 80 yards, but touchdown, nah, you can't have that. So that was a miss
Can
for
we-
this year.
Can we just take a moment to acknowledge how crazy it is that Sam Laporta is having what we consider to be a down year in the most prolific offense in the league? That's pretty crazy. Like, you would have thought eventually the touchdowns would have started coming. Like, I don't think any fan in the NFL was like, who's not going to get any touchdowns? Sam Laporta. I'll take him for that reason.
True.
I mean, yeah, it's true because, like, what?
He's prolific.
The total touchdowns he has for this year is 5.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, that's okay. But
Yeah,
it's not
that's all right.
like, it's not like how it is from last year. I mean, Travis Kelce this year has having a terrible year. It's just, it seems to me that tight ends are not being focused as much compared to wide receivers, because don't get me wrong, if you have a nice middle linebacker that can run and can cover, that's great. And maybe they just don't want to aim for the tight ends. I don't know. It just seems awfully suspicious, besides Brock Bowers, who's doing a great job. and getting touchdowns and getting yardage. And a few others regarding Green Bay's Kraft. He's having a great year.
Yeah, he's good.
You would think
Mark
Sam
Andrews is
Laporta-
having a decent year.
You would think Kyle Pitts would be good. You would think Travis Kelce would be good. Like Mark Andrews, like you would think.
Andrews has rebounded a bit in his defense.
He has rebounded, but like starting off for the season,
He was bad
was
at the
rough.
beginning.
It's
Yeah.
been rough. So I'm gonna say that I'm gonna chalk that one as a bad pick for this year.
Hey,
This-
I'll tell you what though. You know who he has more touchdowns than? Sam
Who?
Laporta? The entire Colts tight end room combined.
You have
All
a
of
tight
them.
end.
No,
Dang.
they're horrible. I'm still salty that we tried to trade up for Brock Bowers, and the Raiders said no, even freaking though they had Michael Mayer. They didn't even need him. Ugh, it still pains me to this day. He could have been mine.
Well, maybe next year.
Ugh, I'm so sad, dude. I wanted him so bad.
But we all know you're not drafting a tight end.
In the second round, we are. It's literally one of the biggest needs on our team. Seriously, our tight end room is
Second round.
horrible.
Probably second round, but not the first round.
Well, no, not first round. We need defense help, but second round though, that Penn State guy, Tyler Warren, he's gonna be Colt.
You may need a quarterback. But
We don't need a quarterback. Get out of here.
But-
Get out of
Hold
here
on,
at
guys,
that
I'm
BS.
tired. I'm tired.
Get out of here at
Yeah,
this
sorry.
BS. That's
Sorry,
not what this
Chelsea.
episode's about.
So you're getting tired, just like your player.
Joke's on you. I'm always tired. That's my secret.
That's what AR says every single time. My second pick that was a bust this year was Tank Dell. You think he had an explosive rookie year last year, and he's like I'm gonna have a great second year. CJ Stroud has some experience on his belt. We went to some had some great games, and then you know what happened? Stephon Diggs happened.
True.
And then
No,
with
and then
Diggs-
Stephon Diggs got hurt, and it still didn't help Tank Dell. That's the
no.
crazy thing.
The only time he had maybe one or two good games, quote unquote. Yeah, he had one or two games. It was against New England and the Jets. And with that, he just dropped off the face of the earth. Like that, you would think he would do really well this year, and it was just sad. But maybe it's also CJ Stroud's sort of fault too, because he hasn't done hot stuff this year, and so he's struggling. But I mean, he's thrown to Nico Collins, to Stephon Diggs, so Tank Dell, he's just a third option, and he didn't start off well this year.
That's my bad.
Okay, but consider though that it's crazy that Tank Dell is having as bad as a year as he had, because literally Diggs and Collins were on IR at the same time. He was the wide receiver 1, and it didn't even matter.
Yeah, and I understand that, but that's the thing. The Texans' sort of offense have been struggling just to get up the field in ways I mean, he's getting yardage. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Tank
Joe
Dell's getting
Mixon's been
yardage.
great.
You're running the ball. I mean, just keep running the ball if it's working. But the thing is, I think Tank Dell, maybe they figured him out. Maybe they're like, we gotta shut this dude down because he's fast, and we can do some weird coverage with him. And they've been doing it pretty good. Maybe next year he'll pick it up and maybe get some more moves that he can get free. But I ultimately think maybe it's because of, I don't know, just Stroud not targeting him as much and just really just looking at Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs in the beginning of the year.
It's my
I think that might have caused it. And also, Chris also drafted him in other leagues. So
that just automatically put a damper on his year. So sorry, Tank Dell.
Honestly, a Texans player would probably be my biggest bust in our regular league that we play with Conlon. I took their tight end, Dalton Schultz, thinking, oh, this is going to be the most prolific offense in the league. He's for sure going to get targets. He's a decent tight end. Yeah, no. Fortunately, he was my backup tight end. But I legitimately thought that Bro was going to have the season of his life. And I think he has, maybe 500 yards. Come on, man.
Yeah. We'll see next year. I think it just reminds everyone that tight ends are not. I mean, there are times that you just have. It's just a bet, you know. And tight ends, unfortunately, since there's so limited of them, you have to choose one that you think is going to be best. He may be a flop that year. He may be great. You just never know. And that's the best part of with fantasy. You know, you're taking a chance on someone who might be great. You know, or might be
Hey,
terrible.
I'll tell you who was good this year, though. I have Trey McBride in our other league.
He's
Dude hasn't caught that many touchdowns, but he's been phenomenal. He puts up 80 to 130 passing or receiving yards a game. Even if he gets no touchdowns, I get at least 10 points from him a week. He's great.
Yeah, no, he's good. But
I would take him again for sure.
you're right, Chris. Though it's like you draft people in fantasy. You draft all these guys that everyone says is going to be amazing. Like how many people took McCaffrey 1 this year? And then
How many times have you played him? 3.
and like
Legit.
it's
I'm just saying. And the worst part is, and as a person who, I mean, I like McCaffrey. He is always a Panthers player. Drafted him, you know, played for us. Literally was our core offense. It's sad to see that like his injuries is definitely hurting. And I mean, it reminds me of when he was here at the Panthers. You know.
Yeah, it's just a shame because he is so talented. But he just can't stay healthy for the life of him. I mean, he had, 2 seasons in, San Francisco where he was looking good, hadn't gotten injured really, was performing really well. And then he manages to get tendinitis in both legs. Gosh, that has to be horrible.
that probably feels terrible.
I
And, like,
imagine.
he almost got them a Super Bowl. I mean, he got them to the goal line in overtime. Like
And yet again, the coach was like, we're going to
Shoulda run the ball. Should have run the ball. They see it coming, but it's only 3 feet.
But you know who also got fired that time? It was
Oh.
the defense, because obviously that you let too many points. Rather than firing, I don't know, the head coach who decided to change the play and like, let's throw the ball. Let's fire the defensive coach.
the defensive coordinator who held the Chiefs to like 20 points in double
Yeah.
overtime.
Yeah,
And-
crazy.
And now all of a sudden their defense is awful. It's like, gee, I wonder what happened. Like,
Yeah, because their head coach was what's his face,
Shanahan.
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, he's also blown 2 Super Bowls. So let's not forget about
Their
that.
Their DC was Shanahan?
No,
No,
the
no.
head coach. The DC
No.
is Steve Wilkes.
Yep, should have kept him. That's 2 teams that should have kept him, including one of ours.
But he's also been like fired everywhere, kind of unjustly. Like we didn't fire him, but like we definitely kind
He
of
took the
said-
fall.
Well, he kind
Well,
of.
technically, he brought the Panthers back to a winning record, and
He did.
then there are certain conversations regarding, some rumors regarding that, and yeah, it was probably not good. Maybe the rumors are true, maybe not. We'll never know until he retires, but
Hey, yeah, guess we won't know.
we won't know. But my third pick is Jerome Ford. Jerome, he was the starter for the Browns for this year, and I was like, they're a run heavy offense. They don't really have a great sort of quarterback. He's going to do great. He's like a Nick Chubb. Like you got to use him just like Nick Chubb. Rude awakening. He's not Nick Chubb. He is I would say he's a terrible running back for you to pick, and don't use him.
Dang.
But that's the thing. The Browns, they've been struggling on run offense lately. Nick Chubb, he has come back and he's not running exceptionally well. I mean, Jameis, they're actually throwing now, which is great because it kind of helps with the load. But like, you would think since they're a run heavy, they would still do a run heavy offense. And I understand if you get down, but still, like, last year they they kept pounding, and this year it's it's changed. Maybe they'll change to a pass heavy offense, and maybe that's how things are going now, I guess. It doesn't seem too heavy of one team's just I'm going to run the ball through you anymore. It's more of like let me pass and run with the quarterback now, and the game's changing. So we'll see.
Sad, Mr. Ford.
But you know who else has also been terrible?
Oh dear Lord.
And you know what is also is shocking? One of the best offenses out there. One of the best offenses.
If not the
running
best.
But the running back is terrible. Javonte Williams. You're trying to tell me Bo Nix cannot target any of his running backs. But no, he's averaging like 3 to 4 touchdowns per game, mind you, for the whole entire year. And he just can't seem to throw it to his running backs. I'm just saying, Javonte Williams, a flop. I know he had one great game. They were like, that's great, and he's popping off for next week. I don't even think he barely got me a couple points after that game. Let me check right here.
What the heck, dude? You're right.
Okay, to be fair, in Javonte Williams' defense, he's not really a pass-catching running back.
I don't care if he's a passer. Do something out there. You're the starting running back out there. You're trying to tell. Okay, his one good game was 88 yards for 14 attempts, which
That's
is
pretty good.
That's pretty good.
But then there's the
After
one
that,
after.
he's
Yeah.
had 17 attempts, 44 yards, zero touchdowns, and it
Yeah,
just
that's
goes
rough.
down after that.
And who was that against? Who was that against, Chris?
You would think that he would have a great time. It was against the Panthers.
Panthers
So-
defense showed up.
I think he just showed up himself. That's all he needed to do, to be honest.
Hey, we,
Okay, Chris, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I read it, when you typed it out and I read it, I thought it said Jameson Williams, and I was about to hardcore defend Jameson Williams. So I'm glad it's Javonte Williams because I can't defend him. Remember when Audric Estime, they were like, he's the new starter, and he got like all those points that one game, and then everyone picked him up off of waivers, and then he literally has done nothing the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Memories.
But-
bro.
Javonte Williams, it's just, yeah. I mean, the Broncos, they're the number one offense currently, I believe. If
Ahead
not,
of the Lions?
one of the top
They're one of
5,
the
I would
best.
say.
That's true.
I would just think the Lions are better since they dropped, 3 50-point games this season?
Yeah, but let's see here. I want to make sure my facts are correct. Let's see.
Chris is fact-checking himself.
We love it. I do have to say, looking through this guy's stats, like I didn't think he was that bad. I was kind of wondering, Chris, why do you have him on your bench? I'm like, oh,
That's why. Oh, my.
Well, and I think the Broncos, they did just pop off against Cleveland that was a high-scoring game. So I could see them being ranked 1 because I think the Lions have struggled scoring in the past couple of games.
They're only putting up, 20 to 30 instead of 40 to 50. How dare them?
True.
Come on, pull it together.
Well, actually, Bo Nix had a rough game. He had a rough game this past one. He had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
Well, he's a rookie. Those things will happen.
Yeah. So currently, right now, Jared Goff has 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and then Bo.
You mean
Nix
Bo
has-
Nix?
What?
Were you saying those were Bo Nix's stats?
Oh no, that's Jared Goff's.
Oh,
Jared Goff has 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and Bo Nix has 17 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
yeah. So Goff's having the
Not-
better year.
Not electrifying, but still, I would still say Bo Nix is having a great starting off.
I'd give him offensive rookie of the year personally.
Yeah, I know maybe that's another talk, but yeah, there's a few other quarterbacks that I'm thinking that may rival Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm. Could be Jaden.
Jaden has dropped off a cliff.
He's 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and those are not counting rushing touchdowns currently.
You mean this past week?
Yeah, he had 3. Let's see here. He had 3 touchdowns this past week.
Yeah, but I mean, compared to what he was doing, he dropped off a cliff. I think Nick's has been more consistent.
Look, I mean,
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair. I mean, we'll just have to see near the end of the season and see both stats. But
We can confidently say it won't be Caleb Williams.
yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I don't know. Everyone who drafted Caleb Williams, I drafted him in one league because I was like, you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it'll be a CJ Stroud moment. And then I realized the first pick may not be good. And I realized by now, Caleb, you might need to rethink your decisions in coming to the Bears, because Justin Fields, he had a great start of the year, and I know he's sitting behind Russell, but like the Bears gave up a good bit, you know, I mean, I think Fields honestly would have a better year playing at the Bears than Caleb Williams. And that's a lot.
I'm going to dispute that Justin Fields comment. Justin Fields, I had him, was great in fantasy, but I'm friends with a pretty big Steelers fan, and I asked him about Justin Fields when he got benched for Russell Wilson, because I was upset. That's when Justin Herbert was playing bad, and I was playing Fields, and he was dropping like 25 points a game. And I was like, dude, why would they do this? He's playing so well. And he was like, no, he's really not. He's playing well in fantasy because he gets rushing touchdowns, but if you actually watch his film, he can't hit anyone. So, according to a local Steelers fan that I know, that is what he said, and he is much happier with Russell. But from a fantasy perspective, yeah, no. Give me Justin Fields all day. He was giving me like 30 burgers every week.
Oh, I'm comparing Caleb to Justin.
True.
But the thing is, most of the O-line that they have this year, they had last year with Justin Fields, and he was just as bad. Because we thought the receivers and the running back and the tight end were going to make up those deficiencies we see on the O-line. But if you look at what Caleb Williams and that offense has done, they really haven't put up that many numbers. And Justin Fields basically ran behind the exact same offensive line last year. So I don't really know. I don't think I agree with, he would be playing better. I think he would be playing a little bit better just because he's a veteran and he's not a rookie. But I mean, we saw what he was like in that offense. He had Cole Kmet. He had a pretty good running back. I mean, he might not have had the receivers that Williams has, but I mean, he still had some of the same pieces that Williams had, and he was still pretty bad.
Let's see.
Sorry, you're saying that Justin couldn't hit anybody. Well, let me tell you who can hit somebody on that team. That's George Pickens right there. Boy could hit, and I mean, boy can fight like nobody's business, man. So,
dude, the 1 week that George Pickens had like a 25-point game, I played him. I was like, are you serious?
You benched him?
Come on.
Played him?
No, I played against him.
Oh, you played
and I was like, oh, George Pickens is starting? Yeah, no, I got this. Yeah, I did not. Got it to update everyone. It was bad.
Fields last year was 16-9. Caleb currently right now is 16-5. They're about the same, sort of the same stats. Yes, Fields has more interceptions, so maybe Caleb Williams with his rookie year is looking better than the seasoned.
But Fields made up some of his interceptions with some of his rushing touchdowns, so I would say that they're about equivalent, at least up until this point in the year.
Yeah, it is. It is good to know that this is his first year, so he's averaging what Fields had as of his third year.
Yeah, for sure.
The Bears.
But he's on the up and up for sure.
He's still, in my eyes, he's still not one of the people like, oh, he is one of the best, like CJ Stroud or one of these rising stars. Like, he has to fine tune.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a rude awakening for the Bears to change to a better O-line. I don't know. But that's the thing. O-line does matter, as we can see with Bryce Young. Now he's looking really good. At the start of the year, he was looking rough, and I will
Real
say the coaching.
Well,
I think
they had
is
the same
helping.
O line all year though.
Oh yeah.
They
Um,
invested hundreds of millions of dollars into their O line over this past offseason.
and that just shows how good of a O line is needed.
That's
Like I
true.
said to others, Jalen Hurts. Look at him. Look at
Mhm.
Saquon Barkley. He's behind a great run offense.
Dude, he
Like
Yeah.
it does.
to Philly, man.
It's gonna be.
Hey,
I will say it's going to be a rough time when the Eagles, when all their O line retires. It is going to be a rough time because trying to get all those pieces back, it takes a long time because a lot of those guys they go through so much from injuries to just different changes, and it just really depends. So I think the Eagles fans that you all better enjoy how much Saquon is able to run because if there's no one out there and it's just twigs out there hoping to block some beasts out there like Miles Garrett, it's just terrible.
hey, I will say though, I'm not going to give up on the Bears offense. I think that I would take a flyer on a Bears wide receiver again next year, but it's going to be heavily dependent on who they bring in as the new head coach because I think they need an offensive minded guy to play to Caleb Williams' strengths and really bring out, the proficiencies that he should be building with the likes of Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. I mean, if I were the Bears, you know what I would do? I would pull out all the stops for Ben Johnson. That's what I would do.
Go to
You
a
give Caleb
division
Williams,
rival is
Ben
crazy.
Johnson, dude, I think that would revolutionize that offense. I mean, you put Ben Johnson on any team that needs a head coach, it's probably going to revolutionize their offense. That dude is phenomenal.
Do you think he'd go to a rival though like that?
Not unless the situation was perfect. I mean, I read an article earlier today where he was talking about how he wants, the franchise to align with his vision for him to even consider going there. And I mean, think about it. If you're Ben Johnson, you're the OC of the Lions. The Lions are the Super Bowl favorites. If you don't have somewhere you absolutely want to go, why leave? I mean, you don't have as much responsibility as a head coach. You're being credited for all of their offensive, spectacularness. Like, I wouldn't leave either. I would stay exactly where I am. Less responsibility, more positivity. You're the best offense in the league, arguably. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for leaving. But if they get an offensive-minded head coach, I would take a flyer on the likes of DJ Moore or Rome Odunze next year. Because I think that their offense could actually be good with a strong, offensively-minded head coach.
Why not Keenan Allen?
Because I have Keenan Allen right now, and I'm mad at him.
But bro, that's so sad.
I'm mad
It's
at
okay.
him.
Keenan Allen will get traded to the Chiefs.
Okay,
for,
to be
seventh round
fair,
pick.
though, the whole league thought that the trade for Keenan Allen was a spectacular trade.
True.
You pair Caleb Williams up with a veteran receiver who's played with the likes of Justin Herbert, who knows the game, knows the system, knows how it all works, could mentor Caleb Williams, could mentor Rome Odunze. I mean, everyone thought that it was like a match made in heaven. So naturally, I thought I was a genius when I took him. Yeah, joke's on me.
I mean,
Rome Odunze,
Well-
though, I would take Rome Odunze. I think that dude's going to be good next year.
I mean, you did draft to fullback last year, so
Hey, we do not tolerate Kyle Juszczyk slander here, okay?
we still remember. Don't worry, Kyle.
It's okay, guys.
Juszczyk.
I picked him up off free agency today for the
it
memes.
don't matter. It's
Hey!
better when you draft him.
Hey, it might matter because McCaffrey is out and Mason is out. So
Stop.
he could get touchdowns. It could
She's doing
happen.
it again. She's
You
doing
do
it
know it's
again.
you do know they have a rookie running back that
Yeah,
just played and
But
who
like,
had,
what if Isaac
touchdowns.
Griendo gets tired? Then it's my guy's time to shine.
I'm sorry, but people in the Colts sort of industry, they don't get, just because the Colts players get tired doesn't mean the other players like Lamar Jackson will say, guys, I gotta sit this one out on fourth down. Just saying.
Well, I mean, if you're referring to, arguably the best running back in the league, and you know who he is, Jonathan Taylor getting tired. I don't think that's ever happened. So if you're gonna talk running back smack,
Nah, he just sat out on games.
at least talk a position that you can back up. You know.
Sorry, he likes to sit out on games because he doesn't want to. He wants to get paid more. Sorry,
Yeah, no, that's not true. He had an ankle injury actually.
It seems like the people in the Colts are divas. So because they're
wow.
very
Owner is, I can tell you that much.
well, either
He
the
ends up
owner
in
or
the
the
hospital
players.
every other month.
Just because Jonathan Taylor he's out, it's just because of his leg. Well, I think there's more to it, but
You realize that Anthony Richardson has led the team on game-winning drives at the end of consecutive games, right?
oh really? Well, I think that one game he kind of threw, but
He was tired. It happens. Should he have done it? No. Did he deserve to be benched? Absolutely. But is he playing better now? Yeah. So what's the issue?
Maybe that's the key to rookies. If you just bench them.
Hey,
and then
Bryce
come
got benched. Look at him.
Okay,
They're
he
both playing good now.
He didn't come out because he was tired. He got
No,
forced. to be
and I will be honest. That was a pretty bum move to tap out because you were tired. I honestly don't think he thought through that before he did it. So he deserved to get benched for that, and he did. And now he's playing better, so he learned his lesson.
Look, man, it wasn't just this, right? Apparently, according to like Pat McAfee and then like the Colts players, he was just saying how the Colts players aren't even working hard. I'm like, that's crazy. Now they are winning back-to-back games, so props.
And we're in the playoff hunt. So as much as people want to hate on Richardson and his sub 50% completion percentage, which don't get me wrong, it's bad. I watch every game. We must be decent enough to still be in the playoff contention. That's better than we can say for the Panthers. So as much as people hate,
because of
as much as people want to hate, he has looked better since he came back from his benching. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to defend his completion percentage because it's bad. Not going to defend his missed overthrows because they're bad. Not going to defend him tapping out because that was bad. But
because the coach made him run left
statistically speaking, if you look at him since he came back from his benching, he is better. That's all I'm going to say.
The coach made him have to do conditioning because after that little comment.
He should have. I hope he ran laps for days. He deserved it.
I think. Look, but also let's talk about still in the playoffs. So who's in the division? It's the Colts, it's the Texans, it's the Titans, and the Jaguars.
We do have the weakest division in football. This is true.
I wouldn't say the weakest.
I don't know about the weakest, but it is.
Dude, the Titans and Jacksonville are horrible. We're average at best, and the Texans were supposed to be a contender for the Super Bowl. And look at them. They barely beat the team last week before the bye, and their subreddit was crying. I'll tell you what, though. You want to talk about fantasy misses? My husband is never taking Anthony Richardson again. He has made that very clear to me over the course of this season. So, in case anyone was wondering.
When did this become roast the Colts a session like that? I don't know.
This always happens.
Not always.
I mean, I have to.
He can't help it. He bullies me.
No, that's not true. But I will say your league may be bad, but your top contenders are the Texans, who are 8-5. You know who our top contender is? The Tampa Bay. They're 7-6.
That's true, but I'm saying
after that.
I think the bottom half of our division is worse than the bottom half of your division.
That's fair.
The Titans have zero offense. They have Nick Westbrook-Akine. That's literally it.
That's
like actually. And Jacksonville has lost Trevor for the year, and for some reason is not giving ETN the carries. Tank Bigsby is winning the carries battle. Dude, Peterson is so fired after this year, but that's beside the point.
Why do you think
Would
he's
it be
trolling?
funny if the Colts lost to the Titans just before Christmas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, you can say those comments all day. Joke's on you. The Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars have been hurting me for years. I'm used to it.
That is fair. Well, guys, I think that's enough roasting the Colts.
Yeah, guys, jeez.
Chelsea, since you've been bullied, do you want to outro us out of here?
Yeah, I guess. If you guys will stop bullying me. Gosh. So thanks for listening, guys. Tune back in for our next episode for more content. We're not sure when that would be yet. We're doing like one episode a month, basically, is our schedule that we're working on. So look for another episode in January. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter at LaunchCodesFB and on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at LaunchCodesFootball. We're also on Twitch. Check us out there too. We have not streamed recently, but we are planning to. So, if you get a notification, watch our Instagram stories because we are planning on streaming some Madden on Twitch. So, that's all I got. I'm Chelsea,
I'm Chris W.
And I'm Chris P.
and we will see you next episode.
See ya.
Bye.